challenges to the natural rights tradition. According to the Church social doctrine, human rights are to be considered as natural rights, enrooted in natural law. To sum it up, we may recall first the philosophical and theological fundament of such an assertion. If we simply refer to the classical Christian vision, which has been synthesized by St. Thomas Aquinas, we have to consider both right and law, keeping on our modern understanding of those terms. Basing mainly on Aristotle, Aquinas defines the latter as the object of justice. That is to say, what is owed to someone, justice consisting in rendering each one what is owed to him or her. And what is naturally owed corresponds to the order of nature. As regards law as lex, Aquinas defines it as an ordination of reason to the common good, which is made known and sanctioned by the responsible of this common good in a community. Natural law is then a participation to eternal law, the global and perfect ordination by God, inscripted in human nature as a light for human action, helping man to establish what is to be owed, to fulfill natural justice. From there, the doctrine of natural rights, as viewed by the magisterium of the Church, goes on some basic principles. Man has first been endowed by God with dignity as a reflection of God's image. Natural rights cannot be self-determined by man, nor by any political community or power, but they're enrooted in the objective order revealed by natural law and accessible to human knowledge and capability. The natural order of things, as expressed in natural law, cannot be disconnected with not only God's design, but also His will of salvation and His present and vivifying order. Basing on that teaching, we can clearly understand in what may consist the vigorous challenges it has to cope with. One major challenge is the one of legal positivism. According to that doctrinal view, though expressed in various shades, law cannot and must not be defined else than a command or permission by legitimate authority within a legal system in which it exclusively finds its validity, excluding every other external reference. Human rights are then not to be considered as natural rights, as natural rights do not even exist from a legal theoretical perspective. A human right can be considered as such, as a legal instrument, only if defined so by a norm within the system, and the fact they would merely be proclaimed as pre-existing is legally irrelevant and may simply be a political or moral issue. Therefore, their usually high level of legal protection is finally a weak guarantee. Moreover, it is up to the legal standard to say what is human with all possible abuse. Another major challenge is subjectivism. Due to history, human rights have been identified merely as subjective rights. That is to say, powers and faculties of one individual to self-determination and to oppose even to those who are contrary to his interests. In this perspective, subjectivist view over human rights has triggered some clearly dramatic consequences. First, the abandonment of duties. There are no longer duty to anyone, considering my power and my interest as a subject, as a sovereign subject. One other dramatic outcome is the unlimited claim of my subjectivity. Some in offending one, my claim of a right to have holiday, to more serious ones. My right to put an end to someone's other life. My right to self-determine myself as any gender or another. But there is also another challenge, maybe the most serious one, the one addressed to the idea of nature itself. In this perspective, the problem and the challenge is the claim of a self-determination of nature itself by man. It belongs to man, to manly power, to manly sovereignty, to determine finally and basically what nature is in such a perspective, regardless of human dignity, which is no longer the problem, and which has been no problem for certain regimes, doctrines, or philosophers, considering the claim of human dignity to be irrelevant, inconsistent, or a sign of weakness. This self-determination of nature by man opens also the claim of an unlimited power by technique to determine, fashion, design, whatever it may be possible to do according to efficiency, fantasy, or purely human consideration. This most serious challenge, as we said, is probably, very certainly, the main justification for the Church to continue our fight and our teaching endlessly and regardless of difficulties to defend the proper idea of human dignity while defending the idea of natural human rights.
In the next and final episode of this series, we'll let the Bible and the French Revolution teach us about what ties us all together. If this is the first episode you've watched, we recommend you watch the introductory episode of this series next.